Hey everyone, welcome back to another one of my videos. My name is Deliora, and today we are going to be doing random Pinterest images as character designs. Let's get into the first one. So the first one is this image of a frog wearing like a strawberry as a hat, and this one uh, gave me a struggle. I've been working on this video for quite a long time, by the way, so if some of the art looks a little old, that's why. But I was very unsure of how to go about doing this specific character because although I love the original image, again, there wasn't like one character design that I really like felt was necessary. Um I could have gone really fantasy with it, and I definitely go more fantasy with the two last ones that we do. Those ones are completely D&D inspired, but this one I wanted to kind of be like, maybe it's a cozy, I guess like costume party look. Like it wouldn't be really like a Ren Fair look, but something cozy that you could wear to like a costume party, or I don't know, something like that. So obviously I gave her one of those like frog hats, and then I obviously then put a strawberry hat on top of it. Um, I gave her kind of like Sailor Moon hair. I put strawberries on her little hoodie, like the strings that come off of it. I honestly really like her outfit. I think her outfit's really cute. And I think I did a fairly good job. I gave her some leg warmers. She gets a little frog keychain on her purse. I feel like this character would be really sweet, and I feel like she would really love strawberries. Like, obviously, that's fairly obvious. But I also think she would be really into specifically like cooking with strawberries. Um, Baking more so, but also like cooking. Like, I imagine she just puts strawberries in like everything. Like you could be like, "Oh, what are you doing with your spaghetti?" And she would be like, "Oh, I'm putting strawberries in it." Like she's just one of those people who just has to have their favorite like food in everything. Uh I feel like I'm kind of like that with some foods, but well, whatever. Um so yeah, I took a lot of liberties with the colors for a lot of these. Just because the colors tend to be so desaturated, and my art style really does not. I don't really like desaturated colors in my art style. I feel like it just makes it look kind of drab, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So I definitely made everything a lot more green. I tried to keep them more of like a realistic green, I guess. Like, it's not bright neon or anything, but it is definitely brighter than basically all of the colors in there. But I did keep her eyes and her skin tone and her hair and like the reds, like all of those are color picked. Just most of the greens aren't. Which, you know, I also feel like I needed to do that for contrast purposes, because the contrast, if I had kept the desaturated colors, would have been really bad. Yeah, that's something I try to do with my art, where I check the values a lot. Um, because sometimes I can get into a habit of making things too pastel, and then everything kind of just looks like the same tone. Um, but I feel like I'm getting better at it. I feel like I'm definitely adding more contrast into my art. And again, this is a fairly, like, it's not an old drawing, but it's been sitting in my art program for like a month or two, as I was working on the rest of these, because my inspiration just didn't go very well. But here she is. She's super cute. I love her. Next one is this very cool sunflower. Is it a sunflower? I don't think it is. Whatever. This tall plant. So yeah, I wrote down some notes next to it. So I wanted him to be specifically be like hippie and biker themed. which are kinda, I mean, like, they have similarities, but they're also very different. Like, culturally, they're very different, but I knew that I wanted it to be, like, a really good mix of kind of like, this guy owns a motorcycle and drives it, but he also has a flower garden at home that's just full of really cool flowers. He also gives off single divorced dad vibes. I don't know why, like, a lot of the guys I end up drawing always end up looking like single divorced dads, and I don't know why. My fish guy from, I think, the second episode? Was it the second? I don't know. One of my other episodes of doing this was also a single divorced dad. So maybe that's just who I like to draw. I don't know. But yeah, I gave him flower tattoos and a flower necklace and earrings. I tried to make his hair look like a mullet, just because the flower itself like really reminded me of a mullet. And then I also gave him like a bandana, or is it a bandana? I don't know. It's like a sweatband, but it's one of those things where you just tie it. Is that also called a bandana? I don't know. I gave him fringe on his like jacket thing. I gave him like a wrist cuff. I gave him a goatee. Again, I really wanted him to look like the perfect mix of a biker and a hippie, and I feel like he ends up looking exactly like that. I feel like I actually did a really good job with this one. I am happy. Oh, his flower belt buckle. I love that. I love that little detail. Look at me just fangirling for my own art. I'm so sorry. But again, it's been a while since I've drawn. Specifically, the first two and the last two are kind of far apart. So sorry if that's a little noticeable, but you know, I'll try my best. So yeah, he gets mostly like a yellow and green color palette. I did throw in some reds and browns in there from the image as well. These ones I didn't need to kick up the saturation nearly as much as I did with the last one. But there he is. I think he looks super good. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say about him. So, I play D&D a lot. I've been playing D&D since I started high school, which I'm now out of high school, so 4 or 5 years, I guess. And when I saw this, I don't know why, but my brain immediately just thought, that's a Tabaxi paladin. Tabaxis being, like, cat people in D&D. So that's what I did. I made her a Tabaxi paladin. Also, the song Lesbian Hunter, I'm sure you guys have probably heard it, reminds me of this image so much. Like, I think I was listening to it while I was drawing it, so that probably has something to do with it, but also, I just think that it's nice. I don't know. So yeah, paladins tend to wear, like, a lot of armor, and they tend to, I don't know if they normally have, like, the cloak thing specifically how I drew it, but that's what I thought of. I guess I could have just done a normal cape, but I also really like side capes, and I think that they're very visually interesting. So yeah, I just put some kind of basic, like, she has a breastplate, and then some, arm gauntlets, and she has, very minimal plating on her legs, so that she can go fast, I guess. I've also never really drawn, a Tabaxi before, at least not like this. I have drawn kind of, like, cat girls, but I've never really drawn this kind of level of it. This is definitely more anthropomorphic than I normally do, but I'm proud of her. I think she looks super cool, and I also really love this image. This image just makes my heart happy. And again, I did, for the most part, I tend to color pick it and then up the saturation or up the contrast for this. Like, I color picked the fur pattern, or not fur patterns, fur colors pretty much, but with the pride flag I did up the saturation quite a bit just because I wanted it to be really like eye-catching. Since the rest of it was kind of, well, I guess that is also eye-catching, but like not nearly as much. You know, you needed a bright pop of color. And I guess I normally do the bright pops of color with like the eyes, but I also like doing it in this way where I do it with the like flag draped over. I think it's super cool. I like it. Um and then yeah, me just throwing in a quick background again because I don't really like having my characters just stand in a void. But there she is. I love her. Okay, so this one is the last one, and he's probably the weirdest. So the image I'm basing this off of is a little crab holding a silver fish, and immediately I was just like, okay, well that's a guy holding a fish sword. And then I specifically thought of like D&D dwarves, and I, again, because the last two are very, very D&D inspired. So I ended up making him essentially like a nautical themed dwarf warrior. So I know that like Viking hats a lot of the time get attributed to dwarves, which, you know, dwarves like are a big thing in Norse mythology and like Viking mythology, so it makes sense. But specifically I made his out of like a crab like crab skin, I guess. Like crabs don't really have skin, they have like it's like an exoskeleton. I don't think that's what it's called, but yeah. So he has a crab helmet, and I ended up giving him like a fairly full beard. I don't really draw guys with very big beards either, so I just do a lot of kind of crazy stuff here. And I've been doing a lot of D&D art, specifically of my new D&D character, because I recently joined a campaign, and my style has also been kind of flip-flopping a lot as I've been doing more studies, specifically so I can better draw my D&D character who I currently have, who I'll probably show some of her stuff off in a video. Maybe I'll do an OC video as she gets, as I do more like sessions with her, so I can better describe her to you. But she's a tiefling ranger. She's pretty cool. I love her. I've never played a ranger before, so I personally am heavily enjoying it. But back to this guy specifically, I really wanted him to kind of look, I wanted him to look like a more like rugged, I guess like like a guy who's lived on a dock for like 20 years, and you know, he's just kind of like the crazy guy who lives on the docks, and he, I assume at one point discovers this magical fish sword, and then he like goes off adventuring. He goes adventuring to, I don't know, do something. I don't think I would ever play this character at like a table, but you know, maybe if my friends who are definitely attracted to this kind of character, like not attracted, like they like playing this kind of character, maybe I would like let them use his like art. But yeah, I didn't really end up liking the blue overalls on him. I don't know why. They just weren't. Yeah, so I ended up changing them to brown, and even this like brown overalls isn't really what he gets at the end. Again, because I was getting too comfortable with color picking again, and then everything was just kind of getting really muddy, and it wasn't looking eye-catching enough, so I ended up fixing that quite a bit. Oh, I love shading. I love specifically shading and brushing, or blushing, shading and blushing a character, because then they always end up looking so much more alive. adding the highlights in the eyes, and then he gets a quick background, and he's done! I'm so happy with this one. I think he looks fantastic. Um, Thank you so much for watching my videos. If you guys liked it, do all the YouTube things. Again, I hope you like the art, and I hope you'll watch more of my stuff. Okay, bye!